Hi sis, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can make your wig from scratch, also in the comfort of your home. I'm going to start making this wig using hair which I received from My Filipino Hair. They sent me 4 bundles of their straight hair and a 6x6 closure. Guys, I love the quality of their hair. So you can see now I'm just showing you how the closure looks. It's full from the up part down to the bottom part. And even the bundles are also very full. They sent me 4 bundles, but I wouldn't need the 4 bundles. On the wig cap, I'm using the part that is rougher on top, so that part is what is sewn on and the neater part is on the inside. So now I'm proceeding now to thread my needles. Just pulled out the thread from the case of the thread. Now I'm trying to double the thread, because when you're making a wig, you want to make sure that you double your thread and you don't make it so long. You want the length to be such that you can just move your hand once freely. So now that the thread is doubled, I just pass it through the space on the needle. Then I'm cutting off the end of the thread and just pinning it down to the mannequin head while I tie the ends at the bottom part. So I'm going to repeat the same thing for all the needles. You can see all our needles now have been threaded you want to take note of where you want your closure to be. You want it centered, so you could do a center part with it, a side part with it. What I did here was I just divided the closure into half just to make sure that I got where was the middle part, and I connected it to the middle part of the wig cap, and I used the T-pin just to pin it down there. Then I started to secure it on the other sides of the closure down to the mannequin head. One thing I love about this My Filipino Hair closure is they take the time to sew down their closures neatly, unlike the way some Vietnamese companies tend to do their closure. They just leave it like the lace like this, or wefted on sewed down. But this one, they took their time to sew it down and it looks neat and really nice. So you're not stressing yourself when you are sewing your closure. Just held the closure and I took it back and pinned it down here. And I'm going to repeat same thing too on this other side. You want to make sure it's flat, so you pull it to the end. You want to make sure it's flat on this side and also on that side. So I'm just pulling it to this end here and pin it down. So you can see here it's almost flat at the back, but not very flat. Still lifting above. You can work on that. While on this side it's some sort of flat, but you can just move it forward a bit to get it to be flat. Well, I'm just going to lift this one up here and shift it a bit more. Yeah, you can see now it's flat here now. Wow, over on this side, what I'm just going to do is just move this guy forward a bit and it will be flat. Because if your closure is not flat on the mannequin head, your wig will also look, it might not also be flat when you wear your wig. So you want to make sure you get it to be flat. So let's just pin this down here. Yeah, do is you want to just gather the hairs together, just pin it a bit before you start to sew down the closure to the wig cap. So I'm just going to clip this away. Then I'm going to start to secure the closure down to the wig cap. How do you sew on your wig cap? You can see where the beginning part of this closure is right here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop, because of, you can see the way this knot is. The knot of this thread is really thick. Because I don't want it to be felt on the upper part of the wig, I'm going to go in and sew from the inside, for the inside of the wig cap, so that knot is going to be on the inside. I'm going to start sewing down the closure to the mannequin head. You can see what I'm doing. How are we moving it? So when we put our thread through the closure and the wig cap, you can see now it's slightly tight, but to make it more secure, I'm just going to put my needle through the thread. So I'm going to get it tighter. It's going to be more secure. It's already like I'm tying it. I'm tying it while I'm moving. So same thing. And We'll just sew the last one down here, then we'll start going back. So this last one here down, and you can start going back. Yes, secure the beginning part of the closure. Now we can start to go back. So I'm just looping in between the area where I had previously sewn. You want to be careful not to pull in so much of the wig cap so as not to shrink the size of your wig cap. So I just took just one pull on the wig cap and sew. Closure has been secured on the wig cap. It's time to start sewing down our bundles. I'm just trying to take off this T-pins from the closure area right here. Yeah, it's time to start sewing down our bundles. This is one 16-inch bundle. It's straight. Let's take out this rubber band. And how many grams does this one bundle weigh? It's gone down to 0. So one bundle of their hair weighs 120 grams, which is really nice. You can see how the tracks are. So guys, now we are starting now to sew down the tracks onto the wig cap. I'm just using a T-pin to secure the weft onto the mannequin head, and I'm going to reach out for my needle. I'm going to start by putting the needle through from the inside part so the knot of the needle stays on the inside. I don't like feeling the rough part of the thread, that knot on the outside. So I loop it through on the inside, then I start to sew the tracks down to the wig cap. With the same sewing method which I use for the closure, I just put the needle through, I pass the needle through the thread, and I pull it to secure it down tightly. I repeat the same thing just to ensure that I secure the beginning part of that track really well. It has to be very, very tight at the beginning part so that it doesn't lose off. And I'll continue sewing from there. When you are using a weft that the tracks, I don't know, if you're using a weft that is really thick, you want to try and make sure that you turn it, you tilt it upwards a bit when it's time to turn it. You can see this one, I sewed it to the point where it's lifted up, it's elevated. So as I flipped it over to turn it to start sewing again, it stays flat. You want to ensure that when you turn it, it's flat. You don't want to feel a bulk. So I'm sewing it down again with the same sewing method. So you need to take note of what I just said now. When you are sewing with tracks that are thick, even if the tracks itself are not so thick, you want to make sure that you lift it at the point of turning it at that end there. You want to elevate it so that by the time you are flipping it over to start sewing again towards the other side, it's flat at that point where you turned it at. You can see what I'm doing now. You see I lifted it over. I even used my hand to lift it above that area. So you're going to try and give like at least half an inch space between the area where you had previously sewn and to the new area where you are sewing on. I hope you really got what I'm trying to explain right now. The essence of doing that is just to ensure that the tracks are flat. You don't come and start feeling like, oh, this part where you did the turning thing is elevated. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to have to cut all of the tracks, because the more you cut the wefts, it's going to shed more. So I'm trying as much as possible to avoid cutting the weft. That's the reason why I flip it around like that. So you keep on sewing all the way to the other side, and you also do the same method of lifting it towards that end, towards the end of the wig cap. You lift the track up so that it will enable you turn the weft over to the other side and sew it down securely. You can see how it's elevated. There's almost like a 1 inch space between the previous track that was sewed down and the next one, though at the point where you're turning it, the space might not be up to that 1 inch space. It might just be like half of an inch or slightly above half an inch at the turning point, but at the other side you can just freely extend it to a full 1 inch. So the goal is just to ensure that the wig, when you touch your hair with your hand, it feels flat, it feels like a well done job. Because when you are sewing with a machine, if it was a machine that was sewing this, you have to cut the tracks. But since you're a human being sewing this wig on your wig cap, you can take your time to sew it really well and ensure that it's really neat. How I introduced a new needle to the track when an old one which I was using to sew it has been exhausted is I abandoned the old one, then I put in the new one and I sew on it and sew very securely. Then I tied the two threads together. I cut off the old one which is finished, and I keep on sewing with the new one. So that's how you'd always add a new thread when the thread on the previous one you're using to sew has finished. Yeah, I think the camera quality has been improved now. I don't know, probably the light position of the lighting, but you can see how the weft of the hair is. I love how the weft of this hair is. I really love it, and the quality of the hair also is amazing. I really like the quality of this hair. So you keep on sewing through the tracks. Another thing you need to also do when you are making a wig is you need to take note about how you place your hairs, because if you place it so closely, you might need to use more than 3 bundles to make the wig. So guys, look at the weft. I like the fact that this particular weft here is thinner than the other two which I used. I really like that. So I'm just continuing from the previous place where I stopped, and this is the last weft of the 3 bundles which I said I was going to use in making this wig. I still have one more weft left, but I believe for this entire wig I'm only going to need 3 bundles of their straight hairs. And for somebody who is thinking about, oh, I don't want my hair to be so full, I think you could actually use 2 bundles of their hair to make a wig. If you're also on a budget, you prefer to work with fewer bundles, I think you can buy 2 bundles of their hair, and maybe they are 13x6 frontal or they are 6x6 closure. And when you are making your wig, you would have more spaces between the tracks, especially at the lower parts. So 2 bundles might be okay for you when you're making your wig. But then if you're someone who likes a very full hair look, then you can choose to do 3 bundles or splurge and do 4 bundles of their hair. So you keep on sewing, guys. It's a repetitive process. The most important thing when you're making your wig is sewing closely. You can see how I'm sewing. I'm not moving far. I'm sewing closely so that the weft is very tight on the wig cap and the sewing is neat. So after making the wig, you could actually have this wig for years just because of how neatly the sewing was done. At this point here, I'm gonna have to cut the weft because I've closed up this side. This part, this sewing now has met with where the closure was sewn at, so I have to cut the leftover of the track there and secure it down to the very ends. And when you're closing out when you're closing out at the end of a particular weft, you need to make sure you secure that place well, sew it down very tight. Can see at this point I even had to sew through the track of the weave on, and I'm just making sure I secure it very very tightly. Then now I can just take off that needle and proceed to sewing the other parts that are still empty. So now I'm just putting in a small portion of that weft in that particular area that is space on, and I'm sewing it down. So for this up part here, it's very tricky. At this point here, I have no other choice. I have to cut the weft like I did at the beginning part. So I'm also going to have to cut the weft at this point here and secure that place. Sew it neatly, sew it lightly. That's what I'm going to keep on doing until I close out, until when the weft meets the area where the closure is. So I'm still, but at the up part of my wigs, I try to not leave so much space. If I was leaving like 1 inch or 1 inch at the half at the bottom part of the wig, at the up part, the space I leave might just be like a quarter or half an inch, depending on how the hairs on the weft is. If the hairs on the weft are very full, then you might just leave not too much space. But I like the hairs at the upper, the weft on the upper of my closure to be sewed closely together, so there's no space in between. One wouldn't be seeing spaces at the upper part of that your wig there. That's just how I like to do it. So guys, we are approaching the finishing of this wig. I'm using that last weft now to close out the area where there's still space between the weft and the closure area. So I'm just securing it down. Here I'm taking out the excess of that weft. So I'm going to sew down that area very tightly and neatly also. And the leftover of the weft is what I'm using to close out this side. So I'm sewing down neatly and tightly just to ensure that I finish the wig well. You have to finish your guys. You have to finish your wig well. So sew closely, tightly and neatly. Don't over pull on the closure. Don't drag the closure while you're sewing. Don't overstretch the closure. So just sew neatly and just make it good. Follow how I'm doing it, guys. So yes, we are done with making this wig. We are done. Yeah, I'm going to proceed now to styling this wig. Yay! But first, we have to cut out the lace inside of the wig cap. Yes, that's part where the closure is. You need to cut out that lace, because if you don't cut it out, you wouldn't have, the closure wouldn't look like skin. So you need to cut it out, and then after cutting it out, next I'm going to put that mannequin head back onto the wig cap. Then I'll reach out for my foundation. If you are the one wearing the wig, use a foundation that is the shade of your skin. I'm going to use that foundation now, apply it all over the entire closure area. So if you use your foundation all over the closure area, you know, sometimes your skin might have like two undertones. You might want to use a darker shade at the very beginning part. So guys, now I'm proceeding now to tweezing my closure. You can see the the beginning part of the closure looks very unnatural. So I have to reach out for my tweezer and tweeze in between the closure so that I get it to look a bit more natural. And you can see the closure has a lot of short hairs, like most closures tend to have. So what I'm doing, instead of pulling out the hairs that are long, I'm reaching out for the hairs that are the short hairs, and just also pulling in between and putting more of the short hairs on the closure out. So repeat the same process, and you can go with your comb and part in between, or just comb through to pull out, to comb out whatever short hairs may have come off, and just still tweeze in between to ensure that the wig looks natural. You can see now the look, it's beginning to come together, unlike how it looked before. So just tweeze through until it looks as natural as possible. Then you can stop with the tweezing of the closure, so you don't over tweeze it, because the more you tweeze, the more hair is falling off from the closure area. And in the process, you want to also be very careful so you don't tear your closure in the process of trying to make it look as natural as possible, guys. And yes, for this wig, I'm going for a side part, and it's like a C part I'm going for. So I'm using you can see the direction in which I went with. Then I'm using that hair wax now to lay away the short hairs on the closure while I'm still trying to define my parts well. And I'm just going in deep now to really form a really deep C. Because the closure is a 6x6, it really gives me enough room to really play around with the pattern of this hair. I can choose to wear it as a C part. I can also choose to wear it as a middle part. I can choose to wear it, you know, I can play around, and I could still even achieve a frontal look with this closures. That's why I really love it. So now I've created the pattern of the closure. I'm going in now to just pull out the hairs on the part area, and I didn't over pull because I want it to be such that I can still, you know, change the part of the hair. I'm just going to further tweeze the beginning part of that side of the closure while I'm still pulling off hairs from the part to ensure that the part is really well defined and it looks nice. Yeah, so you can see from this video that making a wig is really easy. I love making wigs, just that it's time consuming. And of course, when you're done defining the part, I just switched out for my hair wax, applied it to the short hairs and just the closure area generally, just to ensure that the hair is flat. And I'm using my hot iron now to just lay the hair well. I want the hair to lay flat and just lay straight. And you have to be very careful. If you don't have the hot comb, you can use your iron, but if you're using your iron, you have to be very careful, because I'm used to using my iron because it's faster and it's what I have available, so I tend to just use it. And for that beginning area there, you can see I just use the hair wax now to just secure that hair while I'm using the hot iron to lay it flat, and I'm repeating the same thing too on the other side of the hair. But guys, I'm also going to have to straighten the hair, like all of the hair, not just the up parts. You can see now it looks nice, but those short hair, they just pulled out a bit of it. I'm gonna reach out for my iron now, and I'm going to start straightening the hair on my bed. Guys, I'm sorry, I don't have the patience to be flat ironing the hair one after like step by step. I just like to make it fast. Like, nobody has time to waste. I literally filmed this video, took me like 4 hours to film, so I don't see myself spending another 1 hour 30 minutes straightening the hair. No, I'm only going to do this for 5 minutes. Only 5 minutes. I'm sorry guys, but I like to use my iron to straighten my hair because it's faster. So straighten one side. Please don't leave your iron on the hair. Don't leave it for an extended period of time because you can burn your hair. Just be very careful. Be hands-on while you're doing this, and just do it quickly. Straighten the hair to be very straight, like how you want it to be. Comb through it while you're doing it, just to ensure that it's really straight. Yes guys, you can see how the wig looks. There are a few flyaway hairs, so I'm just using my argan oil now to apply the oil to the hair, just to ensure that the flyaway hairs just lays down, and the wig looks nice. So guys, yes, I'm going to proceed now to applying that same foundation which I used earlier to the parts which I created on the wig, so that the part is more pronounced, and it looks more natural. So I just use that thin brush to apply that foundation on the parts. Yes guys, so we are done with making this wig. You can see how this wig looks. It looks so beautiful. I just went back in to apply a bit more argan oil to the wig so that the flyaway hairs are not visible. So guys, tell me what you think. I absolutely love this hair. I love this hair. Absolutely love it. It's so beautiful. The quality of the hair is also amazing. So guys, you could go check out My Filipino Hair. I'm going to put their details on how you can purchase this hair in the description box. I'm going to also do a final review on my thoughts on this hair, because since I made this wig, I've been wearing this hair for about a week, and so right now I'm able to come and further give you my final thoughts on this hair in a video that'll be coming next. I'd also like to try out other textures that they have, probably like a coily hair. So guys, this is the finished look of the wig. What do you think about this wig? Like, give me your honest opinion of the look of this wig. And take note, I didn't bleach the lace of this closure. Of course, you didn't see me bleach the lace of this the closure. I only just used my foundation on the lace. And just let me know what's your opinion. What do you think? Do you like the way this wig turned out looking? Let me know in the comment section. And thanks so much for watching this wig tutorial, guys. If you enjoyed watching the full process of making this wig, please let me know in the comment section, and please like this video, give it a huge thumbs up, and please also subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed to the channel. Join the Linda Squad. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you learn how to make a wig from this tutorial. You could watch this video over and over again, and hopefully you learn something out of it. So bye, I love you.